You already know we're making EFO RIRO. Now, I know I might have already butchered the pronunciation. It's my accent. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, support your girl. EFO bad. Listen, this is an absolute banger. So let's just get into this recipe. I'm starting off with about 4 bundles of spinach. The best way to know if it's good is the firmness. If it's that floppy, it's too soft. It's gonna wilt if the whole thing is like that. Most of it needs to be firm so it can survive in our stew. I like to cut mine quite thick. If you prefer yours a bit thinner, that's totally fine. It's really all about preference. I'm adding a bit of salt onto the spinach, and I'm also pouring just a tiny bit of water. I know some people blanch their spinach. I prefer to do it this way. 1, it keeps the colour nice and vibrant, and 2, it doesn't make it too soft. So once it's wilted to this type of texture, that's when all the water, as much of the water has come out. You can see it right there. This might take about 5-10 minutes, depends. Now I'm adding some water, about a jug of water into the bowl, and this really helps get any dirt from the spinach out, anything that you don't want in your soup. I'm not trying to eat any mud or stones, okay? I will do this maybe 3 times until the water is completely clear. Once I put my hand in and I can see it, I'm done. Now that it's all clean, I'm squeezing as much of the water out, just because when you start cooking, it's going to seep into your soup. So as much of the water you can get out, then just pour it into a perforated bowl so that the water can drain. If it's sunny, I will leave it on the windowsill for about 2 hours to dry out. If not, just pop it in the fridge for about a few more hours and it should either drain or dry out as much as possible. That is the goal. Look at how beautiful and fresh this is. Here's what I use for about a 2-litre pot of stew: around 8 to 10 romano peppers, 2 onions, and however many scotch bonnets. I'm adding as much of the red peppers into the processor. I use a Ninja. I blended it for about 15 seconds. So if you have a Ninja and you want it exactly the same, blend it for around 15 seconds and you get it roughly this texture. Just gonna pour all of that into a bowl once I'm done. Do the same for the onions for a little bit longer, so about 17-20 seconds. This is the palm oil that I use. If you don't want to use palm oil, you can also use sunflower oil. Girl, it tastes just as good. I'm pouring maybe about a cup worth of palm oil, and I'm just going to leave that to heat up, or bleach as Nigerians call it. And once it's hot, I'm just going to pour in all of the blended peppers and onions at the same time. I'm going to leave this to cook without any seasoning for maybe the first 15 minutes on a solid medium heat. If you haven't already liked this video, help me out by hitting the like button below. It's been cooking for a while. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Onions are a little bit large, but we move. I'm going to start adding the other ingredients. First thing I add is iru, known as locust bean. Can't lie, this thing doesn't smell nice, but it does wonders when it comes to flavor. Baby, prep. I soaked this maybe a few hours beforehand in some boiling hot water just to rehydrate it. Then I just broke it into bite-sized chunks, add that in, give it a bit of a stir. This is a mixture of seasoning. Your girl is hella lazy, so I just put it all together. It's a mixture of chicken seasoning, all purpose. Anyways, everything is down in the description box. Check it out. Now I'm adding some of the meats. This is tripe. Most Nigerians know it as shaki. I just boiled this with some onions, bay leaf, some salt and white pepper to get that funk smell. If you know what tripe is, you know that funk smell. I did the same with cow foot. I boiled it with some bay leaf, onions and salt. Simple. I deboned it, then chopped it into large chunks. I love mackerel. I boiled this, simple, nothing in it, deboned it, adding it into the sauce as well. Most of the ingredients are in now. You can add some prawns, anything you want. I actually forgot to add my favorite thing, smoked turkey. Oh man, look how rich that EFO looks. Riche, riche. I'll leave this to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now that my sauce has dried up, I can see that there's no excess water. I've tasted it. It's slightly on the salty side, which is perfect. Once the spinach goes in, it's gonna balance everything out. Almost done. I'm adding the beef. I cook this in some bay leaf, mixed herbs, all-purpose seasoning, some onions, whatever you like really. If you do want to know how I made it, there's a link above. Gonna add this in and give this a good mix. This is looking so good. This is the best time that I taste it, just to make sure it is perfect. The flavor are all right. If I need to add chili, this is perfect, so I'm moving on. My spinach is dry. You can see how beautiful and green and fresh. You can tell that there's not much moisture in it. This is the perfect way to get crunchy EFO. I'm adding this into the pot and just lightly stirring it. I've turned the heat off completely, mainly because I like my spinach green. I don't want it black, and I like it fresh and crunchy. The residual heat is all I need for the spinach to start wilting. I will add it in batches because it does get a bit much. So once I've done the first batch, stir it, then add some more. I'm gonna continue stirring it until the spinach has slightly wilted. Once it's wilted, some of the water will come out and go into the sauce, and then it is ready to serve. This is looking too sweet. Tell me that my husband will not enjoy life. Waiting, look at. If your pounded yam water is not on the fire right now, you're wasting time. Now all that's left is to plate up. Can we just take a minute to admire the smoothness of that pounded yam? Look how rich that soup is. The spinach is still beautifully green. Omo, I did chop well. With all those meats, fried beef, cow foot, there's mackerel, there's shaki, the spiciness from the scotch bonnet. This is such a rich dinner, lunch, whenever you want to eat it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. So good. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Remember, I am on the gram, so if you do try it, let me know how it goes. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe, like this video. I'll be back Tuesday and Friday with either an Asian or an African recipe. So I'll catch you next time.